So one of the survey questions from the inner city visit was, what are your suggestions on other cities to go visit? I was curious if you had any in mind. I feel like it's a tough suggestion to make because there's so many critics of, hey, this is a good place or not.
Yeah, I mean, the one place that comes to mind for me, and so I was thinking about this city when I was on the chamber in Raleigh.
Okay.
I don't know if it has the same, comparisons, but Fort Worth, Texas.
Cool.
That's one of the coolest places in Texas. I like to go back to Fort Worth. There's a lot of culture there, a lot of art, a lot of it's just a cool city. They've done a great job of revitalizing the downtown. It's an attraction, just a lot of culture.
Mm-hmm.
And but if we're looking at, I just think it would be a fun place to take everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
more than are we going to learn anything to bring back?
Yeah.
So I have to give that some more thought.
I was, in my mind, again, this is a town or a city that came up in my mind where I don't know how it actually benchmarks or but I was thinking, Austin, Texas, I've never been. Sounds like could be.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said 10, 15 years ago, Austin is now the 9th or 10th largest city in the country.
No way.
Which is crazy. And I don't know if you've seen
gosh.
I have a picture on my phone. It's, I left in 2014.
Yes.
From Austin, and it's a picture of the Austin skyline in 2014 versus 2024.
Yeah.
And in the 10 years, how it's changed. It's you wouldn't believe it.
I can't imagine.
Unbelievable. The growth is just so tremendous, and it's not slowing down. And the city's becoming, they didn't build it, they didn't keep up with the infrastructure to support all the growth. And so it's congested, and it's backing up, and they're playing catch up. And that was another option for Raleigh. I'm like, Raleigh is where Austin was 10 years ago. So there are lessons to learn.
Yeah, there's a good...
People are coming, and it's not going to stop. And even if you're anti-growth, it doesn't matter. Austin was anti-growth, and now it's in the top 10.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Top 10 cities, that's wild. I never would have.
I wouldn't have either, because it was just a small, keep Austin weird, hippie town, college town. It's still a cool place, even though it's crowded. It's a cool place. It's fun.
How long were you
I'm going next weekend.
Okay.
This weekend. Yeah, I'm going to Austin. My son lives there. My mom's there.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how long were you guys living in Austin?
10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there 10 years before coming to North Carolina.
Got it. And so you were working in, which hospital system were you working in?
Baylor Scott and White.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the largest not-for-profit healthcare system in the state.
Got it.
And interestingly enough, I got to start a market for them in the Austin area. So they had nothing there, and I got to build the first hospital, and then acquired a couple of other hospitals, built a large multi-specialty group practice, and just continued to expand. And given the growth that was taking place there, it was, wasn't hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So building up a hospital system from scratch, I would assume you're working with a lot of county, city, municipal, government folks, or is it more?
Yeah, not as much as you might think.
Okay.
It's really more of generating the support from the physicians in the community, independent physicians, recruiting new physicians to the community, getting community support. Does the community, what do they want, what do they need? And in Texas, there's no certificate of need laws like there are in North Carolina, so you can build anything, anytime, anywhere, as big as you want, as
Sounds
much as you
Texas,
want.
Right?
Yeah. It's the wild, wild west, right?
That's awesome.
So when I got to North Carolina, I'm like, CON law, what is that? That feels so restrictive to me.
Mm-hmm. So before we get into more of the leadership in the business and the medical system stuff, you've been telling me you're training for another Ironman. With your two boys, right?
Reluctantly, yes.
So, how did you even get into this endurance sports? How did you get started?
I was fascinated by it when I was a kid, when Ironman kind of hit the mainstream back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was just fascinated with it, but I'm not built for that, right? I'm a big guy. I'm not an endurance athlete, and so I really didn't start running or cycling until after high school. I started dabbling a little bit in college, and this is something I just wanted to do, and for whatever reason I thought, well, I'm not built for that. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then just got inspired by some friends that were competing and were doing it, and then slowly just started adding distance and building up some endurance and stamina, and it was pretty late. I mean, I had done triathlons off and on throughout my life, and then probably 15 years ago, decided to really take the next step and did a half Ironman distance. And I finished that, and I was like, well, I'm in this good a shape. Maybe I can do a full. And so I kept going, and I did a few fulls. I did 4, and did a bunch of halves with my sons. But that was 15 years ago, and now they want to step it up and do a full, and I'm like, guys, you don't know what that takes. It's so intense.
They haven't done a full one
No,
before.
they've both done halves. We've all done halves together, which has been fun as a family to do that. And so they talked me into it last September, and so I've been trying to get ready for it. It's in 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that too. And you were nursing a little bit of a calf injury.
I did. I ran that Wilmington marathon, and I injured my calf. I had a slight strain or tear and couldn't run for a month. But I rehabbed it, and it's in better shape now. So
good.
We're going to do it. It's a big family affair. Yeah.
How many full Ironmans, or how many Ironmans have you done? 4. 4. And
but they were all in a certain period of time when I was really good shape. I'm not right now.
And so it's 2.4 miles?
2.4 miles swim, 112 bike, and a marathon.
And then a marathon again.
Yeah.
I've done a half, and it's no joke.
It's not.
I mean,
it's a long day.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
And people were asking me when I was training, and I was kind of joking. I was like, at some point, the physical aspect is definitely there, but once you get to a certain point, like how much of it just becomes a mental drive where it's like...
Yeah, you think about the 3 disciplines in the triathlon, but there's also hydration and nutrition, which is critically important for a 10, 12, 16-hour day, depending upon your speed.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to get in your own head and be comfortable, especially on long training rides or runs, or when you're by yourself, during the event, you need to know what your why is and why you're there, and stop. You can't be doubting yourself in the middle of that. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be, it'll be long and slow, but it'll be fun with the kids.
And you're doing it in Europe, right?
We're going to France.
In France.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What an experience.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Big family vacation.
Yeah, and one of your boys lives in
he's
Italy.
He's in Italy.
Right?
He's a cycling guide right now. He's actually starting medical school this summer. So he'll come back after a 10-week session cycling the Italian mountains.
Unbelievable.
He did it last year all summer, living a pretty good life.
I think that's so great. I was listening to a podcast with Jensen Huang. He's one of the founders and the CEO of NVIDIA, the big AI company. And he said something at the end of the podcast, and he said that at some point in time, intelligence, and it kind of already is, intelligence is going to be a commodity, right? Because you've got all this artificial intelligence, like intelligence just is what it is. But what really separates, people is our experiences. And, I just, when you were telling me about your son living abroad and what he's doing, I was like, that's just, you can't replicate that with AI or computer learning and his perspective and the experiences that he's gaining. It's just cool. So cool.
Yeah, he's having a great time, a great experience.
So maybe I'll meet him one day and I can hear some more about his travels and stuff.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Well, we're neighbors, so we can just walk over to your
exactly.
place. Yeah.
So I wanted to dig into that a little bit because I was thinking about the mental aspect and the tenacity that you need to do an Ironman, and translating that into leadership and business, right? I mean, if you start your day and you run 15 or 20 miles, it's like, man, everything after that should be pretty easy, right? I've only got a couple board meetings and tell me about how that.
One of the things that I think the training for endurance has taught me. And I've actually changed my mindset from a leadership perspective, in that I've become, I think, more patient, aware that things take more time to develop. It's not going to happen overnight. You've got to put in the time and energy and effort over a period of time to be successful in business or in some type of athletic endeavor. And what I've found is, when I look back over the course of a year, 3 years, 5 years, at what's been accomplished within the organization with the team, it's very impressive to see everything that our teams have been able to accomplish. Just whether it's creating capacity or making improvements or developing new services, new programs. Those things take time. I want things to happen immediately. That's always been I've just been very impatient, very competitive. Let's go, go, go. But I've learned to be patient, and it's a long game. And after a couple of months of working out, you look back and you see, okay, yeah, I've lost a few pounds. I'm a little bit faster. I'm doing better on the bike. So the same thing, just looking back over time and seeing the progression and the improvements, I kind of translate those two things.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So do you think part of that is also, like the younger version of Ernie, just go get them? I see myself as I grow, notice some change, but do you think that just having more experience is also
definitely
part of that?
More experience, you become wiser, you learn and from your mistakes, and you try to do things better. And so there's definitely a wisdom aspect to leadership that I've noticed the change in me, not being as impatient, or I've had to become a little more compassionate and empathetic with my team, and versus just hammering and let's go and get it done. So I've seen myself evolve over time, and I think I'm a better leader now for sure than I was 20 years ago.
So what's it like to work for Ernie right now? How would your people that work on your teams, what would they say about you?
Well, they wouldn't say anything because there's nobody on my team right now. It's just
exactly.
Me, right? So my leadership approach varies. It depends on the situation, the circumstances. So being adaptable and flexible with a leadership style, management style, and how you approach things, I think has been important for me, because the situations are unique and different throughout my 30-plus year career. And so I pride myself on being adaptable. The one thing that hasn't changed or hasn't been flexible is, a mentor told me pretty early in my career, gave me some advice: be direct, be honest, and follow through on commitments. And so that's something that I've tried to follow throughout my career. The direct part has got me in trouble a little bit, but and I view that as being transparent, and maybe I'm a little too direct or transparent. But definitely being honest and following through on commitments has been successful for me. And then also, I think my team would tell you that we set very clear expectations and goals, and then we hold ourselves accountable to achieving those goals, and that's been also successful. Let's just make sure everyone has the resources to accomplish the work and what needs to be done, and hold ourselves accountable to doing that.
So how did you get into hospital administration? What was the driver and the path along? So
I was one of those guys who went to college. I thought I was going to be a doctor, and my freshman year I made a D in chemistry and a C in biology.
Nice.
I wasn't good at it and I didn't like it. And so I changed majors every semester for the first couple of years until I kind of landed on business, which I felt was I was good at and I liked. So right out of college I went to graduate school to get a business degree. I got an MBA and a master's in healthcare administration, so I could kind of tie that business back to my original intent. And it's mission driven and a way to serve and the community, support those that are caring for others. And then also I learned pretty early on that healthcare is always changing. There's always challenges. There's always opportunities. It's never the same every day. And I really like the variety of the things that I'm involved in. And so that's what's kept me kind of motivated. And I really, really enjoy what I do.
So right out of MBA school, what was the first position you had? Yeah,
I went to work, I was in Houston, Texas. I went to work for a Catholic healthcare system, and I was doing things like business planning, strategic planning, physician relations, that kind of work, just kind of entry-level stuff. And I always made it clear that my goal was to be in operations. So as we were developing a new clinic, recruiting new specialties, and we put those into I got to manage those, and then just started picking up a portfolio of clinics and services that I would oversee and I was responsible for. So that was my first job.
You said like pretty basic entry-level stuff, but it sounds like you're pretty much managing little business units. Like
it grew to that for sure.
Right.
Yeah. It didn't start that way, but it grew to that.
Yeah. And so how long did that how long did that path take from like, hey, kind of being part of the team, building stuff up, and then like overseeing actual clinics?
So I did that for, I would say, about 5 or 6 years right out of graduate school, and then was really fortunate to get an opportunity to join a hospital as a chief operating officer, not really knowing how to be a chief operating officer, but they were willing to invest in me and teach me, and so I learned a lot. And then 2 or 3 years later, the CEO at a hospital I was working at left, and I became the interim CEO, and then ultimately was given the position. So that was my first CEO job in 2005, I think.
Got it.
2004, and then right after that, I got a call from a recruiter that was recruiting for Baylor Scott and White, and they wanted to build a brand new hospital in a brand new market right outside of Austin, Texas. And I'm like, that sounds really cool. That's kind of a once in a career opportunity to build a hospital from the ground up. Since then, I've done it 4 times, so it wasn't once in a career, but it was a great opportunity. And so I was there for 10 years before I came out to North Carolina and joined UNC Health.
So what brought you to North Carolina?
UNC Health brought me to North Carolina. Yeah.
So no family ties or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, pretty early in my career, a couple of years after graduate school, I came out and worked at Duke Hospital for 3 years, then went back to Texas. And so I had been introduced to the state, did have some friends in the area, so it made it easier to come back. But I was the recruiter that recruited me to Baylor Scott and White was the recruiter that UNC was using, and that was the connection. And so I came out and talked to the guys, and we just hit it off. And that was 2014, and UNC Health was in a major growth mode at the time, picking up hospitals across the state, and had just acquired High Point Regional. And so I oversaw High Point Regional for 4 years, and then we sold that hospital, and I moved to Raleigh to oversee Rex in a small region, which included Wake County and Johnston County for UNC Health. Okay.
So is Rex like part of UNC Health, like a division of it?
Yeah. So, I mean, think about UNC Health as a state-owned, not-for-profit, academic, and community healthcare system. Rex is their largest flagship community hospital in Raleigh. And Rex has been part of UNC Health since 2000, so for a long time.
Okay.
But it's really community focused versus the Academic Medical Center in Chapel Hill.
Got it. So it sounds like you've got a path of high growth and, start from the ground up type.
Yeah, I've done some of that. I mean, I've been in very competitive growth markets. If you think of Austin, Texas, and the growth that's happened there, Raleigh, it's a high growth area. You've got 3 healthcare systems in Raleigh: Duke, UNC, Wake Med, all high performing, quality organizations. So yeah, some very competitive markets, and I've got to do some neat things throughout my career.
So from Texas to to Raleigh area, and then you moved down to Wilmington in 20.
Yeah, right at the beginning of 2024.
Okay, 24.
Yep. So my wife and I had a place at the beach at Carolina Beach, and we've been coming down here for years, and thought, man, it sure would be cool to live here and work here.
Yeah.
And the summer of 2023, the regional president position for Novant Health came open, and so I called Novant. I knew some guys over there, and we got to talking, and I came down and met the board, met the docs and the team, and just hit it off, and it all worked out. And so I joined Novant in January 2024.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that was, after the sale of the hospital to Novant Health. I mean, coming in at that time, there was a pretty big job to do and a lot of things to oversee.
Yeah. I mean, there had been a lot of skepticism throughout the community about selling their county hospital.
Yeah.
And so, public sentiment and community perception, and it happened during the pandemic, which the timing was just not great. And so you've got pandemic, the staffing challenges, trying to integrate into a new healthcare system, leadership changes. So there was a lot going on, and Novant Health has made strategic investments to build capacity and create access and make improvements and develop the workforce, and I think is doing a really, really good job of that, and that continues. I mean, they're going to continue to make investments and improvements, and I've been very impressed with the medical staff in this community and the intensity of services that they provide and the quality of service they provide. There's some phenomenal docs at the hospital. And
the workforce issue, I mean, that's something that goes across the whole industry and impacts our whole community. And from what I understand, there's been a lot of collaboration with this talent pipeline initiative.
I mean, we have a healthcare workforce shortage locally throughout the state, throughout the country.
Right.
I mean, that's a big deal right now, and it's been interesting in New Hanover County and this region, the collaboration that has occurred to help improve the workforce pipeline locally. The community college, Cape Fear Community College, UNCW, New Hanover County Schools, the Chamber, other not-for-profits in the area have come together and have developed a lot of programs targeting students at a very early age to get them exposure to healthcare. They're teaching them about jobs that they didn't know existed within healthcare, and there's such a variety of things to offer. So the recruitment and retention efforts that have occurred over the past 3, 4, 5 years are really starting to pay off. We're really getting some traction on the recruitment and the retention, so that's been very positive.
And UNCW announced they're opening up a medical school.
Well, they're
working towards
That's right, and that would be awesome for this community to have a 4-year medical school in Wilmington.
That's
and
a
much
really
needed.
big deal.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure there's quite a bit of red tape might not be the right term, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that they've probably got to get through to
a lot.
make that all work.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So now you've accepted a new role with a company with an organization that you have a history with, and I was reading an article and it said it was a little bit of a homecoming, so to speak, but being in a new market. So can you just tell us a little bit about what your new role is and what you'll be doing?
Yeah, so because I was with UNC Health for 10 years, almost 10 years, it was easy to go back because I just knew a lot of folks there, and really grew to appreciate the mission of the organization. And it's really 3 components to that mission. One is providing great clinical care throughout the state. UNC Health serves all 100 counties throughout the state. Patients are coming from all over to their facilities and seeking their expertise. The education component of their mission, the academic component, teaching future healthcare professionals, and then research and innovation. UNC Health has hundreds of physicians and scientists developing new therapeutics, new surgical procedures, new techniques to treat patients, and so really bringing to bear that mission throughout the state, but also now bringing it to Wilmington and to Southeast North Carolina in a much more substantial way. UNC Health has had a presence here in the region with affiliation with Onslow Memorial Hospital in Jacksonville, and UNC Health Southeastern in Robeson County and Lumberton. Okay. And then so if you think about those two counties, everything south that we develop over time will be the southeast coastal region for UNC Health, and I'll oversee the development of that region. UNC Health has had a significant pediatric presence in Wilmington for a long time, and has grown that pediatric subspecialty presence over the past 5 or 6 years pretty significantly. And now I'm excited to share with you that now we're going to bring UNC Health here to take care of adults and have adult medicine and surgery, and our intent is to develop a hospital here as soon as possible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you mentioned right now you're kind of a one-man team here locally. Are you able to talk about kind of what the plan is for building up a team here locally, or is there going to be a lot of shared resources throughout the state?
I have a ton of resources, access to resources through UNC Health, and they're providing support right now. I mean, the priorities right now are to develop a very strong application that we could submit to the state to get regulatory approval to develop a hospital. Right. So we'll go through there's the certificate of need process and applying for beds that the state has determined are necessary for New Hanover County, and so we'll apply for some of those beds, and the applications are due June 15th, so that's coming up pretty quick. Yes, so that's what we're working on now, is to ensure we have enough physician support and community support for our application. That's going to be really important, and then we'll learn by the end of this year, the calendar year, if we're awarded beds, and we expect that we will be. We do have a pretty significant physician support of our application. We'll be partnering with Wilmington Health. Okay. We're gonna be doing some work with them, and they're gonna help us with the development of a new hospital. Okay. And some other independent physicians also. And then, we'll learn by the end of the year, and then, once all that's settled, then we can start construction. We've got a contract on a pretty cool prime piece of property to develop a campus on. Okay. And that will be at the southeast corner of 17th Street and Shipyard. Okay. So it's a good spot.
Absolutely. And it's kind of right near like the medical area, so to speak.
Right in the middle of the medical community. Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more this process for getting approved for the beds? What is it?
It's their certificate of need.
Certificate of need. Can you explain how that process works?
Oh my gosh, you don't want to get me going on certificate of need. So
coming from Texas, where
there's no certificate of need laws in Texas, right. and so when I got here, I was like, what is this? It just felt so restrictive that you had to get approval from the state to build a hospital, and the certificate of need laws, I mean, that started back in the 70s. The federal government mandated it in an effort to try to keep costs from escalating fast. Okay. It didn't work. 4 or 5 years later, the Fed said, okay, states, you don't have to do it anymore. So a lot of states just completely eliminated their certificate of need laws. But many kept them, and North Carolina has one of the most restrictive certificate of need laws in the country.
Interesting.
Now, there has been some reform. We've eliminated the certificate of need for surgery centers and imaging centers in counties with 125,000 people or more, so that would apply to New Hanover County. But it's a process you have to go through. The state determines every year by county what is needed in that county, and then healthcare systems, physicians, other organizations can apply for those assets in that county, and then you're competing for them. You got to, like I said, put together a good application, demonstrate that you can utilize those assets, and so that's the process that we'll go through now. And To me, it takes a little bit more time. If there were no CON laws in North Carolina, there would already be another healthcare system in this community.
Right, exactly.
And it's it's here. I think it's time for a choice and an alternative. So patients that do want to seek care from another healthcare system, they don't have to travel 2 hours to do so.
Yeah, and I'm sure without going into all the details, there is, or maybe there was a good reason for it at a point in time. But I mean, back to economics and MBA school, I mean, we're supposed to be a free market economy, and supply and demand, basically rules.
Yeah. Well, and South Carolina they repealed all of their CON legislation a couple of years ago, and now healthcare systems in South Carolina are building along the border and pulling patients from North Carolina into South Carolina.
Oh my gosh, interesting.
Yeah, and we don't have a quick response to that.
Yeah. So in South Carolina, I know like Prisma's a big one in South Carolina.
Prisma.
Is Novant down in?
Yeah. Novant has a significant presence in South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. Recent acquisitions and growth into South Carolina. Big footprint.
So right now here in Wilmington, I mean, you've got Wilmington Health, you've got Novant, and so as the bigger medical systems, right?
Yeah. I mean, Wilmington Health's 275 primary care, specialty care physicians, very successful independent group practice. Novant's the only hospital system in New Hanover County, but with a large medical group. Those are the two bigger players.
So UNC, the plan, will you have like a hospital system, or is it just a medical practice? Like it'll be like a hospital system similar to Novant?
Yeah. I mean, it'll start a little bit smaller, and grow over time. But it'll be a full service community hospital with all the services you would expect at that type of facility.
Got it. Good. No, I mean, it's probably, like you said, good for the community to have some choices and competitions. It's not a bad thing.
I mean, there's talk about how competition elevates quality service and the product, right? And it does, and it will. But frankly, in this region, there's enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. So is it really competition? Right. I mean, the region's growing so fast, and there's not enough, and we need more healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories of friends and family members that go up to Duke, or and we're lucky to have a system like Duke in our state. But I mean, I hear lots of one of our employees took his wife up to Raleigh for some procedures. Yeah. And so I mean, it's there's room to bring more.
There's a lot of patients are leaving this community and going to UNC Health or going to Duke or somewhere else, and we want to keep them local. They shouldn't have to travel.
Yeah, definitely. So UNC Health is a state-owned nonprofit hospital system, and you've worked in some other nonprofits, the Baylor system. What are the fundamental differences other than maybe the funding? But what's the difference between working in a nonprofit versus a for-profit?
Well, I've worked in for-profit hospitals too,
as well,
early in my career. So, I mean, I guess the fundamental difference is a not-for-profit healthcare system. Every dollar that they make is reinvested in capacity building, reinvested in workforce development, reinvested in community health. Some are investing in medical education and research. All the dollars that not-for-profits make are reinvested in providing care or educating healthcare professionals.
Got it.
The for-profit, they have a different philosophy and a different mindset. So they've got investors and shareholders, and those investors and shareholders want some of that dollar, right? So they've got to generate returns back to those investors. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the basic difference. Yeah. I've worked in both. Both have physicians committed to taking care of patients, staff that are compassionate and service-oriented. Ultimately, we're all taking care of patients. Yeah. I mean, I think that, good or bad, I mean, in North Carolina, the majority of the hospital systems are not-for-profit healthcare systems. So all of them, not all, most of them are they're investing back into the community.
And I'm sure the for-profit ones, I mean, they're absolutely reinvesting as well.
Sure, they have to.
They've got that those shareholders.
That's right. Yeah.
that they have to answer to as well.
Yeah.
I get it. So can you tell us more, you started to tell us a little bit more about the strategy and what UNC Health is going to be doing here in Wilmington, but what other, what other plans or what else can you share with us about what you guys are going to be doing here?
So if you think about the timing of this application process and then building, I mean, we're 4 or 5 years out before a new hospital opens in the community.
Yeah.
And so if you think about, what happens in between then, well, we'll be developing outpatient facilities, outpatient assets, whether it's surgery centers, cancer centers, medical office buildings for physician clinics and specialists to practice. So all, and then all the recruitment efforts to staff,
Definitely.
not only from a provider and a physician standpoint, but nurses and other healthcare professionals. So all that will be taking place in advance of a hospital opening. And then it's, again, continuing to listen to the community, what the physicians want and need, what the community wants and needs, and responding to that. And then, I mean, what we're thinking about is, this is, we're thinking generational. This is not a short-term play. This is 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now, what does healthcare look like in this community, and bringing the mission of UNC Health and the resources that they have to bear on Southeast North Carolina. It's a big time. Yeah.
Well, good thing we were talking about how you've become more patient over time.
Oh, right.
What does the governance structure look like for UNC Health? So you're going to be a regional CEO, president?
Yeah, that's right.
What does that look like?
Yeah, so I'll report to the Chief Operating Officer of UNC Health.
Okay.
Dr. Christy Page is the CEO of UNC Health, Dean of the Medical School. And then ultimately she's reporting to the UNC Health Board of Trustees.
Got it.
That Board of Trustees is appointed by, there's some seats appointed by the General Assembly.
Yep.
There's some seats appointed by the UNC System Board of Governors.
Okay.
So because it is a state-owned system, the state has input into the governance of the organization.
Got it.
Yeah.
So UNC Health is in 100 counties around.
Well, they're serving patients from all 100 counties.
Right. Okay.
Facilities, clinics, physicians in over 50 counties, 53 to 60 counties in that range.
Okay.
And then, of course, we'll bring more to this region.
So how many peers or regional presidents are
Yeah, it's a
in
good
North
question,
Carolina?
because this is a new structure that in UNC Health is evolving as it's growing. I mean, now there's 20 hospitals across the state, 900 clinics. They have over 1,000 clinical trials that are part of some of the research stuff that they're doing. So the organizations get bigger and bigger. So I'll be the president of the Southeast Coastal region for UNC Health. Recently, we just named Chad Setliff the regional president for the Triangle region. So that'll include Wake County, Orange County, Durham County, and then I anticipate there'll be a regional president for some of the eastern part of the state and then the western part of the state too.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty interesting, I've only had 1 or 2 of these in my career, but starting a new job, it's not 100% new because you've kind of worked with the organization before, but I've had this sense of kind of being oh, I've got a clean slate. All this stuff that I've been stressed or worried or things that I've wanted to do, but starting with a clean slate. Do you have that feeling now where you're kind of hey, I got a little bit of a fresh starting point?
That was day one. The slate fills up real quick.
Real quick.
It's not a clean slate anymore. But I'm settling into a routine, and I've set up an office at my home, which to my wife's chagrin, I'm not sure she's too crazy about that. But I'm officing out of the house, out of my truck, at any coffee shop I can find to meet somebody, and running around town talking to business leaders, community leaders, physicians. Again, trying to garner support for the new hospital. So
you mentioned garnering support, and part of this certificate of need, there is some type of public input as part of it?
Yeah, there'll be a public hearing shortly after the applications go in, so August, September timeframe. And that'll be held here in New Hanover County somewhere. And the healthcare systems will come and they'll make their case for their application and their plans. And then there'll be an opportunity for the community to comment in support of whatever healthcare system or whatever they want to share with the CON section.
Okay. How many applications do you suspect will be put in?
I'm guessing probably at least 3.
Okay.
UNC Health will apply.
Yep.
Of course, Novant will apply, and maybe Atrium will apply.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, they've seemed to be interested in this area. There may be more. There could be others.
Right.
Those are the 3 I expect.
Okay. And I'm thinking of like a public hearing. I mean, is this some like 6-hour session where anybody can come and say what they want?
It depends.
Or?
I've been to some where it's lasted an hour and it's a non-event, and it kind of depends on what the applications are for. This might generate some more interest from the community, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. We'll see.
And who facilitates it? The state? I mean, I guess the board or whoever's in charge of overseeing the CON, or
it's I mean, there's some analysts that are the ones that are kind of charged with evaluating the opportunities. They'll be there, and it's not like a board or a commission that you're in front of. It's but it's for public record, and it's there'll be the CON section there to kind of guide the day.
So you mentioned you kind of working out of the house a little bit and meeting around. So and you mentioned you're meeting just kind of local business leaders and some folks in the community. What other types of meetings are you having? Like working on the application, I suspect.
Oh yeah,
collaborating with the greater UNC system.
Working with the team on putting the final touches on a strategic plan, kind of a long-term plan for the things that we want to do in this region, and really that's been informed by the conversations that we've been having about what's the need.
Yep.
And then of course the real estate team we're working with our legal team on how do we partner with some of the independent physicians in the community. Public relations and marketing is a big aspect of this, so been spending some time with those guys, and then just the docs here and community residents of the community, and the response to this plan has been so overwhelmingly positive and enthusiastic, and that's pretty exciting.
That is.
Yeah.
When you had been part of, I guess the ones in Texas that you built up, you didn't have to go through this process.
Right, a little bit.
So I was curious, like what how you could compare that to previous ones, but
it's different. I mean, and all markets are different. They have nuances and different dynamics, and certainly Wilmington is different, and just what's occurred, over the past 5 or 6 years really has, impacted that dynamic, given the pandemic and the staffing shortages and the impact that's had on healthcare here, and the acquisition of New Hanover Regional, and there was some scrutiny around that from the community, and so I think we're getting past all that now. We're kind of getting into a steady state.
Yep.
Novant Health doing great things in the community. UNC Health wants to be here and continue to help develop capacity and create more access and do great things also. So I think the future's bright for healthcare in Wilmington.
Absolutely, because people are going to keep coming.
Oh yeah,
that's for sure.
That's right.
You mentioned collaborating with independent physicians. What does that mean? Like patients come into UNC and you guys work together to serve?
If you think about the physicians and the way they're set up, I mean, if you went back 30, 40 years ago, most physicians were independent. They had their own practices, a lot of onesies and twosies, mom and pop shops. Over time, there's been so much consolidation, acquisition, health systems acquiring practices, employing physicians, and so now a majority of the physicians in the country are employed.
Right.
And they may be employed by a physician group, but many of them are employed by healthcare systems.
Okay.
And so there's a pretty large employed group locally here, but there's a lot of independent physicians still. Wilmington Health being the largest, but there's really a lot of independent physicians still, and it's a struggle to maintain that independence given the pressures on reimbursements and negotiations with the commercial insurance companies and payments and government payment. Medicare, Medicaid is not great for physicians, and so it's challenging for the docs to stay.
I bet.
Independent.
I couldn't imagine, because working with small businesses, we see, business owners, they want to focus on their mission and like bringing in clients or, doing whatever it is that grows the business. They don't want to worry about the administrative stuff. In a medical practice, I mean, that administrative stuff is like times 10 or 20 potentially compared to what a normal small business.
Yeah. Well, and just affording, the electronic health record in and of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's challenging too. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a huge motivation for independent physicians to be like, I just want to practice and I just want to like go and take care of my patients and let somebody else worry about all this.
There are some that have that mindset. There's others that are business savvy and they figured it out and they can make it work. And if you can run your own business and control it and not have a hospital system do it, that might be a better situation for you. But it's hard. It's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I talked to Dr. Umar Bowers about his practice, and it was pretty cool to hear his perspective of, because he's private, independent group there. Yeah. But he talked a lot about collaborating with some of the larger systems as well, so we've got some exciting stuff happening.
I think so. I'm excited about it.
What excites you the most about this new role?
That's what I mentioned. It's hearing the excitement and enthusiasm from when I share the plan and the story of what we want to do. The response has just been so great. The reaction has been so positive, and that excites me. And then I think about the legacy that it creates over time. I mean, this is, like I said, generational. This will something that'll be here forever, and to be able to bring another healthcare system to this community, something that is needed and wanted, excites me.
That's awesome.
And building a new team and watching this piece of property that has nothing on it turn into something special for this community. Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you, and thank you. I wish you all the best. You don't need the luck, but I'll wish it to you anyways. Well, thank you very much. And definitely look forward to hearing about your trip to France, your Ironman with your boys. I'm scared. Have you been? You showed me the app where you and your boys, you can like compare workouts. Oh, and Strava, stuff like that. We're on Strava, and you can see what everybody's doing. If they're putting in the distance and the time and getting their workouts in, and it kind of motivates you to, you can see what they're doing, so you want to do a little better. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. A little competition. Well, thanks again, Ernie, for taking the time. Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for everything you do in our community. Well, great, thank you.